Well, good morning, everyone. And once again, welcome to another live here this morning. Hoping you're having a good start to your day. And good. Claudette, good morning. Wendy, how are you? And Sandra and Elizabeth. Michael from Wawa. Jeanette, good morning to you. My little lopsided here, let me just see here. Denise and Savannah and Raja and Kerry and Donna. Lise, good morning to you. Nick, good morning. Hope you're having a great day. Noel from Essex, Ontario. Marion, how are you? Corey. Denise from Alberta. Kelly. And good morning. Deb, how are you? Bernadette. Okay, guys, great to have you on. Sorry, how are you? And Lucy. Brianna. I don't want to miss anybody. Morris. Karen. Good to have you on with us this morning. Addie. I got a granddaughter named Addie. Yelau. Good morning. Jerry. Rebecca. Thanks for coming on this morning. We appreciate it. Dubraka. Sharon. Carol. From Edmonton. Bright and early this morning for you guys. And Andrea and Carolyn. You guys are great. Anne, how are you? Okay. I want to bring to you a study, just came out last week, on the dangers, again, another negative study on high fructose corn syrup. Not good. And this one is disturbing in a lot of ways because it was saying that dietary fructose, high fructose corn syrup. And by the way, I just put this out there. If any sugar is added to food, so when you read a label, you look at carbs, look at how many carbs there are, and then look at how many sugars there are, because they add sugars, okay? If they've added sugar, the food industry uses high fructose corn syrup almost 100%. So don't be fooled by a different name on the label. Oh, it's natural sugar. Nah, it's high fructose corn syrup. And they can get away with that. The food industry gets away with that. They don't have to tell you what the sugar that they put in there. So it's never good. Okay, it's never good. And high fructose corn syrup, this new study is showing, okay, that high fructose corn syrup inhibits calcium absorption and lowers your vitamin D. You know, it's always interesting to me that one of the deficiencies that I think is probably one of the worst deficiencies that we have. We'll talk about another one this week. We're going to talk about the deficiency in omega-3 because a new study came out. But this morning I want to talk to you about what sugar does to a lot of things. One, we all know it's all negative. You know what I mean? Nobody is sick due to a lack of sugar, okay? Nobody is sick due to a lack of carbohydrates. And I'm really big on, if you do nothing else, cut out sugar out of your diet. You know, some people have been able to do that, and they get rid of sugar, and what a difference it makes. But now, this new study is showing that even calcium that you need for your bones is decreased because of high fructose corn syrup. Like, it's crazy, man. And it's probably due to the fact that high fructose corn syrup decreases your ability to absorb vitamin D. Now, vitamin D, every person on the planet, your body is a human solar panel. Every cell in your body. Now we know this. We didn't know this 30, 40 years ago. Every cell in your body. You know, people think of vitamin D and getting the sun and, you know, it comes on your skin. And of course, you have to expose the skin, especially your arms and your legs, to absorb vitamin D properly. But you have to think of that, what that sun is doing. The sun is penetrating your skin. It's going past the skin. You lay out in the sun. Think about this for a minute. You know, you're thinking about your skin, and this is why most people, and if you did a survey, you'd find out that most people are still very scared of the sun because they're thinking of their skin. They're thinking of skin cancer. They're thinking that your skin ages in the sun. And if you were to talk to a dermatologist, they'd be the first ones to tell you that UV radiation is the worst thing you can do for your skin. I disagree 1,000,000%. Now, again, I'm not telling you to burn in the sun, but you have to understand that, you know, it's like if you ever, as a matter of fact, there's a place right here, just a couple of doors down. When I was out walking yesterday, I noticed they got solar panels on their roof. Okay? And, you know, it's collecting energy. The solar panels on the roof is collecting energy to run their house, to run all the electricity in their house. You know, that's what your body is, guys. Like, it's not just the skin. The skin is where the absorption takes place. But every cell in your body needs that sunlight to go into the body and charge up your cells in your body. Every cell in your body has a little solar panel. And it's looking for sun. It's looking for the sun. Primarily. You know, primarily. And another thing is, remember with vitamin D. The vitamin D that your body uses, sun, the best source. 2, animal foods. Eggs, meat, and cheese. Fish. Yeah. Vitamin D. You got vitamin D3 there. Not D2, D3. So understand that this is really, really important for your body, okay? Now, listen to what this study is saying. When you consume high fructose corn syrup, soda, chocolate bars, granola bars, almost any food you can think of, even bread, they add high fructose corn syrup. Most breads add sugar. They're not adding, they're adding high fructose corn syrup. Why? It's cheap. It's very, very inexpensive. That sugar is made in a lab. It's made in these industrial vats and then put into our food system. It was discovered in the 1970s. It was made, not discovered, it was manufactured in the 70s. The food industry. They found out a couple of things. One, it was very addictive. There was a study that came out this week, or last week, that showed high fructose corn syrup is 8 times more addictive than cocaine. 8 times. You think the food industry doesn't know that? You don't think their scientists, food scientists, don't know that? Of course they know that. But this study is saying you're not even going to have good quality of bone because you're not going to absorb your vitamin D. You're not going to absorb your calcium. You can take all the calcium you want. It's still the #1 selling supplement, by the way. Did you know that? Calcium. And if you've been listening to me over the years, I don't tell you to take calcium. I want you to eat calcium. Calcium is meant to eat. That's why you eat eggs, meat, and cheese, because you got lots of calcium in there. Calcium is in dairy. A lady asked me yesterday online, can Dr. Martin prove that they add sugar to milk? Well, I didn't say that. I didn't say they add sugar. It's what they take out of milk that makes milk no good. You want to make milk white Pepsi? Take fat away. I'm not big on grocery store milk. Okay? It's overrated as a nutritious food. It is. Now, cream, that's different. Cheese. That's why I'm big on cheese, guys. Because cheese is very, very nutritious. Very high source of calcium. But even better, you see how God does that in food? You see, God didn't want you to take a calcium supplement. He wanted you to eat it. So when you have cheese or butter from the dairy industry, okay? When you have cheese and butter, not only do you get calcium, you get vitamin K2. What's vitamin K2 takes your calcium that you're eating in your cheese and your butter, some in meat, and it drives it into your bones. The problem is you cannot out-supplement or out-eat in terms of dairy. And again, I leave milk on the side if it's in the grocery store. If you have a cow in the backyard, drink milk. Otherwise, you need a little bit, you want something in your coffee, then put cream in it. Because that's really what milk is. If you milk a cow, there's a lot of cream in there. You're really getting whole milk. So the problem is a bad diet. A bad diet. High fructose corn syrup. Now, I'm going to give you my take on it. The study didn't say this, but I think this is what happens, okay? When you have a diet full of high fructose corn syrup, any sugar that's added, the average North American, listen, the average North American is consuming, the average, is consuming 200 pounds of high fructose corn syrup a year. 50 gallons a year. 50 gallons of soda a year, the average North American. It's crazy. Insanity. But here's my take. What, and we talked about this. One of the things that high fructose corn syrup does, remember what I've said? It don't pass go. Meaning that it's like Monopoly. It goes right to the liver. Fructose. Fructose. Why do bears, on average, eat 30,000 blueberries a day? Because they're getting ready for winter. They're storing fat. Fructose goes to the liver, stores as fat. Remember the suitcase? But one thing we learned, and this is something I didn't know before, on its way rapidly to the liver, it changes your microbiome within your gut, especially the little lining that is made up of bacteria and little wee cells that between your gut and your blood. You know, that's what we call leaky gut. So high fructose corn syrup has a huge, huge factor in leaky gut. But number two, you know where your vitamin D gets metabolized? In your gut. Remember the solar panel. Every cell in your body. But where vitamin D from the skin, when it comes in from the skin, one of the places it's metabolized is in your gut. But sugar, high fructose corn syrup, and one of the worst things you can do for high fructose corn syrup is drink it. I talked about soda. You know what the number one fruit is in North America? The number one fruit. It's a drink. It's called orange juice. And number two is apple juice. Garbage. When you go through the grocery stores, avoid the aisle that has fruit juices in it. Okay? Avoid that aisle. You know, what's the difference between orange juice and, let's say, a Pepsi? Nothing. There's no difference. They're both terrible. Apple juice, Doc, it's apple. Yeah, I know. But it's 100% fructose. And it's going to go directly to your liver and cause fatty liver. You're never meant to drink fruit. You're meant to eat fruit. God wanted you to eat it, not drink it. Okay? Man-made. Fruit juices are man-made. When you look at Dr. Martin's Perfect Smoothie, what do I talk about there? Protein, 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 and fat. Protein and fat. And if you're not on the reset, I give you a few berries. I'll let you have a few berries. Strawberries or raspberries or blueberries. A few. It's not a fruit drink. It's a protein and fat drink. Goes up to the brain. Lowers inflammation. But you see what happens in the gut? As the high fructose corn syrup is making a beeline for your liver. And that's why we see so much fatty liver today. Up 300% in the last 20 years. It's one of the greatest factors in heart disease is liver. It starts liver disease first. You have heart disease, you got high blood pressure, you got problems with your liver. Your liver is the suitcase. It's the Costco parking lot, and it's full. Imagine children having livers that are full. But sugar, high fructose corn syrup, doesn't allow you to absorb vitamin D properly. It doesn't allow you to absorb calcium properly. You can't even absorb your calcium properly. You want to know why there's so much osteoporosis today? Our diets. It's not, and by the way, in North America, per capita, we drink more milk than anywhere else in the world. Canada, even more than the US of A. We drink more milk than anyone else. But we got one of the highest rates of osteoporosis. Guys, it's not calcium. It's sugar. Sugar decreases your ability to absorb calcium. Calcium doesn't do you much good if it's sitting in your bloodstream. The last place in the universe you want calcium is inside your bloodstream, because that's what is part of forming plaque. Calcium, hardening of the arteries. How do arteries get hard? Calcium. Because calcium belongs in your bones and your teeth. And inside your cells. Calcium don't belong in your bloodstream. Hey, doc, I got blockages. Okay, you got too much calcium that's not getting in to the bone where it belongs. That's why I don't like calcium supplements. They don't get to their intended destination. And I would love to do a little teaching to my physician friends. Quit telling your patients to take calcium. Get them to change their diet. Numero uno. Cut out the sugars. Get back in the sun. If you can't get sun, then get vitamin D in a supplement. That's the supplement you need, is vitamin D. But you got to cut the sugars out. Isn't that significant? Think about that. How significant that is. 80% of the population, 80% of North Americans, they don't know it because, it drives me crazy. You almost have to take your doctor. I talked to a patient the other day that can't get their vitamin D levels checked. The doctor just won't do it. Well, you don't need that. You're a man. See, the doctor, in their training, God love them. Oh, I get a headache. Calcium equals bones. So they get a man there, or a woman even, and they're not thinking of osteoporosis. I'm not worried about you having osteoporosis. Therefore, I'm not doing your vitamin D levels. Oh. It's one of the most important tests that you can have done, because 80%, even children, are low in vitamin D. And we know vitamin D is not just for bones. Yes, it is for bone. But what about your immune system? One thing we learned about COVID. One thing we know, 100% for sure. People that get sick have low levels of vitamin D. Why do you think it's so important? Your immune system doesn't even work without vitamin D. Even insulin. If you're low levels of vitamin D, you're much more insulin resistant. Vitamin D is an anti-inflammatory. You know, Tony Jr., you're like, it's not even a vitamin, it's a hormone. We list it as a vitamin, but really it's a hormone. 80% of the population, might be even higher than that, because people consume too much high fructose corn syrup. I know. You can't out-supplement a bad diet. You can't out-supplement a bad diet. I'm always telling people that. You just can't out-supplement it. I have a whole chapter in my new book coming on the idea of the diet. It's the first thing you need to do to help yourself. The first thing, not the second or third thing. I don't start with supplements, folks. I start with your diet. The major change you make for yourself is when you get the memo to cut sugar, if you can, out, but certainly cut it down. Oh, Dr. Martin, how am I going to live without chocolate cake? And quit giving your kids or grandchildren chocolate milk. Ooh. Milk is bad. Chocolate milk is terrible stuff. It's sugar on steroids. High fructose corn syrup added to milk. Ooh. I know, but these are things, and it's hard. I get it, kids. It's hard. But be a good example. Be a good example. They'll get the memo. Kids are very smart. They're very intelligent. So isn't that a significant finding when you think about it? A bad diet, you can't even absorb your vitamin D properly. You can't absorb your calcium properly. One of the biggest things on the reset, guys, one of the biggest things on the reset, and why I talk about it so much, because it's a 30-day program to turn your life around. Turn the body around. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Your body will turn in 30 days or less. In the first 6 days of the reset, you've emptied your liver. The liver just got a good cleaning. Took all the junk out of it. But I tell you, when I saw that study at the end of last week, I almost didn't have question and answer Friday. Because I couldn't wait to tell you about this new study. And where have I seen it? In the mainstream media? Nowhere. I mean, guys, This is earth shattering. Earth shattering. So, if you do nothing else, cut the sugar down. If you have osteoporosis or osteopenia, which is the beginning of osteoporosis, it's not a lack of Fosamax that you need. You're not deficient in Fosamax, which is a bone-building drug. You're not even deficient in calcium. It's because you're not absorbing your calcium because of your diet. You're a sugarholic. It's one of the biggest factors. The second factor is most people in our world, because they take the lie of don't eat animal products. They take the lie of vegetarianism and veganism, and it's become part of their religion, personal religion. You're missing out. You're missing out on vitamin D. You're missing out on calcium that you need from butter and cheese. You need to eat that stuff. You were meant to. And don't drink milk. Like I say, unless you have a cow in the backyard. Eat cheese. Eat butter. Much better for you. Tonight I'm having vitamin S. Oh, it's going to be good. And just when that steak is ready, just last minute, butter on top. Let it melt right in that meat. I get the perfect vitamin K2 on top of vitamin S steak. I'm getting vitamin D. I'm getting calcium. The right stuff. Okay. Okay. That was fun. I hope you had fun too. Okay, guys. Love you guys. Stay tuned. We got some new studies came out. Exciting. We'll bring them to you. And if you have any questions, get them ready. And we love you guys. Share this with your friends. Share it with your family. The more you share it, the more the algorithms. I don't know anything about algorithms other than that's the word that somebody told me. The algorithms in Facebook. We're up to 65,000 people following us on Facebook. Get your friends to follow us. Get them to join the Martin Clinic Facebook group. Okay? Love you guys. Talk to you soon.